So, originally this was going to be an unscripted rant video complaining about some tech problems I had to deal with the other day, until I remembered I'm terrible at that format. Instead, I'm backing up a bit to put more thought into what I want to say and giving this a little more structure, and hopefully you'll get a nicer video out of it. So, I'm sitting around trying to play For Honor with my friends, all talking in Discord. I'm reading a comic on the side while the match loads, so I'm not really paying attention to the screen. Nothing unusual here, we're all having a good time. Until one of my friends asks a question. I respond and he moves on to chat with someone else. Hold on, I think. I had more to say there, so I say something. No response. Okay, weird. I'll check Discord and see if I accidentally muted myself. I can see on my second monitor that I haven't, but there's no sound indication. Alright, I try to Alt-Tab to see what's happening, and the screen freezes. Not only has For Honor frozen, so has my whole desktop. Screen's stuck on a single frame, mouse stops registering, keyboard stops registering. In fact, the only thing that seems to be working still is my audio, as I can hear my friends ask where the hell I went. Only thing left to do is hold down the power button and force a restart. Now, if that was all that happened, things would have ended there, and I wouldn't be here complaining. Crashes happen, some worse than others, but I hadn't been having any problems with For Honor. So, despite the severity of the crash, I was willing to treat this as a unique case. It's not a good thing, but if all it took to get up and running again was a restart, there would be no video today. See, despite the lead-in here implying the tech trouble started with For Honor causing the crash, maybe, the real problem was festering in the background, waiting until the worst moment to try to break everything. I have two primary devices I work with, a laptop and a desktop. On my laptop, where I do most of my work, I run a Linux distribution. What the distribution is changes. Right now it's Nobara, but it's been Manjaro, Mint, and Ubuntu before, as my requirements changed. My desktop is where I do my gaming and recording. For convenience and ease, like most people, I run Windows for this. Windows 10 specifically. Most people will have already guessed where this is going. Windows updated itself in the background, or at least tried to. It's not like this update was a long time waiting. I generally try to keep things current. Not necessarily bleeding edge. I don't need to be a beta tester, but current enough to be secure at the very least. I also don't keep my desktop running 24/7, so there's plenty of time to install the updates when I shut down for the night. My use case should fit 90% of what Microsoft tests for. But when they say Windows will update, then by God, it will be updated. Fuck the context, just do it. So I just had to physically force a restart, and Windows thinks that this is the perfect time to apply the update. Okay, whatever, just get it done. 10%, 30%, 50%, black screen. Is it finished? No, it restarted to the boot menu. Apply an update. 10%, 30%. Oh no. To my increasing horror, the update restarts again, and then again, and again. I really don't want to force a shutdown in the middle of applying an update. Please don't make me force a shutdown in the middle of an update. I'll try waiting it out, but my friend had a similar problem and waiting it out never helped, no matter how long. My finger's on the power button. I'm not pressing it yet. If I do this, I could break a system file or corrupt my drive. Don't make me do this. Apply an update. 10%, 30%. I take a breath and prepare to hold the power button down. My first plan is to launch the boot menu and the OS from there, and if that doesn't work, I won't have another choice. But no, I don't need to do that. There's no black screen this time, just the lock screen, greeting me as if there had never been any trouble. I release my breath and log in. Disaster averted, right? No. A day later, and all I'm doing is reading an article online. Nothing intensive, no strain on the computer, I'm not pulling much power or working heavy on RAM. Doesn't matter. Blue screen. Driver power state failure. The only thing that could have touched this is the Windows update. You know, Microsoft, I don't come into your house and start breaking your shit. If we can't have a package manager for installing our updates like a sane OS, the least you could do is let me schedule the update to something more specific than just the next restart. Or, failing that, you need to verify that the update has finished downloading and hasn't been corrupted. Not should, but need to. If you are working with system critical files, This is a requirement. Microsoft is a Fortune 500 company. There is no reason they can't afford to fix this. Maybe Windows 11 has a better solution, but nothing I've seen about it strikes me as appealing. And with them doubling down even harder on telemetry, I think Windows 10 will be the last Windows OS I use. It was something I tolerated because games are my preferred art form, and they mean a lot to me. So I want to use the OS that gave me the most access to them. And while Linux is constantly improving in this regard, Windows is still beating it out due to the industry's continued reliance on DirectX. But the disadvantages are now too numerous, and Microsoft's behavior is too poisonous for me to continue using it and feel secure in the treatment of my files and personal information. Speaking of blatant disregard for personal privacy, between all the hassle with Windows, Chrome updated itself. Chrome itself is switching to a weekly update schedule, supposedly to stay ahead of the hackers that are able to view the source code for Chromium, Chrome's open source fork. I would be more sympathetic to that answer if it wasn't for what the first update applied. Google calls it enhanced ad privacy, and if that isn't the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard. Privacy may as well be sarcastic here. Enhanced ad would be more honest at least, although that enhanced there is really straining. I'm gonna come back to this, but this really sours my already strained experience with Chrome. Thankfully, I've been using FireFox as my primary browser for a while now, but I still wanted a backup browser just in case. I've been seeing more about Opera GX, so I decided, why not take a look at it? Well, the launcher lagged my entire computer, despite Windows saying nothing was eating RAM or CPU, and there was not one, but 2 hidden telemetry menus that I needed to turn off. Maybe more. The second one was as far as I got before I decided, you know, I'm good. And it was Chromium based anyway, so dodged a bullet there. Chromium is open sourced, technically, but it's still developed by Google. So Google can force whatever it wants upstream, and those working downstream just have to accept it or create an entire new fork with half the resources. So let's talk about Google's, really Alphabet now. Let's talk about their position in all this. I complained about Microsoft's telemetry earlier. Google is even worse. Let's be clear, Google cares about 3 things: ads, your data, and AI, in that order. Anything else will be in service to that. Also, let's cut these defenses off right now. Google makes trillions now. That's TR. That's 1,000 billions. Without exaggeration or hyperbole, a million millions. They don't have to do this to make money. They are already making money. An obscene amount of money. They want to make more money. They want to make all the money they can. And they want control. Control of your data, control of the technology you use, your habits, your life. So no one should be defending them based on their desire for money. But corporations exist to make money, right? That's not an excuse. Corporations are still run by people, and those people have a responsibility to see that their decisions do not come at the expense of others. With Google, it all starts with ads. Ads are awful. There, I said it. Ads suck. A brave stance, I know. Real hard-hitting stuff. But they pay for the modern internet, right? Yes, but really no. Ads pay pennies per view for hosts and have questionable returns for advertisers. In theory, ads should be there to inform you about products you may want. That's rarely the case though. In practice, any ad that's loaded onto your computer is an attack vector for malware. If you search on Google, it will load ads at the top of the page, pushing legitimate responses further down. And these ads are not checked by actual people, simply given to the highest bidder, and maybe checked by a machine. If you're lucky, they'll be from bigger sites trying to get ahead in rankings, by paying their way forward to make sure smaller up-and-comers can't compete with them. Which is scummy, but it won't brick your computer. This isn't a guarantee though. A link can look authentic but actually be malicious. It seems like there's a seasonal trend that keeps coming up that people are calling malvertising, where searches for things like Blender will load seemingly innocuous ads that seem to be related but are actually links to sites that will load malware on your computer. Okay, that's bad, but we can just avoid them by not clicking the links, right? Well, we still have the ads that load on actual web pages, still from Google servers by the way. Well, we can just not click on those either, right? Assuming that the site isn't designed in such a way to trick you into clicking on something that will send you to another site you can't see the address of and may not know how to check the validity of if you're someone who really only uses the internet for school or work. And I'm going to pause for a second and point out that continuously, the safest way to interact with a Google AdSense ad is to not interact with it at all. Just keep that in mind for now. But avoiding the click only really works when the ads themselves are fine and just lead to a malicious site. But ads online aren't just static image links, and they haven't been for a long time. The front end of almost every modern website runs JavaScript, and ads are no exception. JavaScript is incredibly useful, and there's a reason it's so used. But any site can load arbitrary scripts from it, and ads can pull it from basically anywhere. Drive-by downloads are just one form of malware risked by letting ads load on a page. And that's just the ads themselves. But that's not the only thing being loaded. Trackers are more pervasive than ever. They're loaded on nearly every page and with each and every ad. They make a profile on you designed to analyze your personality, viewing habits, anything that gives them information on you. It's claimed to be anonymously collected, but it's been shown to be trivial to use it to find personal information anyway. Not to mention, anything that claims to give you personalized anything should throw up a huge red flag. How can it be personalized if it's anonymous? And it's not all the same company. Your data is also sold to the highest bidder, whether another corporation or a government. It has become a basic safety precaution to use an ad blocker like uBlock Origin, but that isn't enough. If you use Chrome as your browser, you have accepted to being tracked and your data is used for Google to make a profit to no benefit to you. If you are thinking of switching browsers though, I would recommend against Chromium-based browsers. Google is the main developer of Chromium, so despite being open source, it gives them enough weight to exclusively decide the future of the internet. You may have heard of the controversy around Manifest version 3 that Google pushed in an attempt to kill ad blockers. Their ability to do that is a danger to the future of the internet. If Microsoft was someone who randomly showed up occasionally to force their way into my house and break my shit, then Google feels like someone is casing my house to find anything worth taking and following me around. Following anyone around, regardless of age. I'm obviously pulling the think of the children card here, but I think it helps with perspective. I wouldn't want to be around someone that was constantly looking over my shoulder, following me around and trying to psychoanalyze me. And I definitely wouldn't want anyone pulling that shit on people who can't even legally sign a document yet. But let's not pretend that anyone else has gotten actual informed consent. Maybe they read through the EULA when they first signed up, but the EULA can be changed by Google at will, and your choices are either to accept the change or lose access to any data tied to Google, photos or documents on Drive, email on Gmail, videos on YouTube, anything. Of course, Google will still happily track you across other sites and still sell your information. Now, that might seem like a lot of criticism for someone who's using their real name on a YouTube channel, but there's a difference. My name is already publicly listed due to my work with my nonprofit. Donate if you can, by the way. But there's a difference between knowing your name and trying to figure out what size shoe you wear, any medical conditions related, political opinions based on shoes, and we've decided that you fit into this model. Here's more articles to get you angry from the highest bidder. You should be able to go out to the public, give your name, and expect not to be followed back home, or anywhere else for that matter. Again, a lot of criticism, but what are they going to do? Demonetize me? Actually, let's talk about that. There's a lot of talk about using YouTube Premium to support creators and remove ads, but that comes with a huge asterisk. YouTube does not care about creators. Most creators make money from sponsorships or Patreon. Premium will not hide plugs for either of those, and will, like ads, pay for pennies per view. It might give some return if you're a large channel, but smaller channels will get chump change at best. Assuming YouTube hasn't decided to demonetize any given video or struck out a channel, effectively removing all money that might go to support a creator. And let's just point out that most other benefits that Premium brings were things that were already possible and YouTube removed to try and squeeze even more money from you. And if you're not using Premium, there will still be ads. Speaking of which, I said small channels get pennies. That was a lie. or at least an exaggeration. Medium channels get pennies. Small channels don't get a thing. When you watch an ad on one of my videos, you are supporting YouTube, not me. I don't see a cent, and I actually can't turn off the ads at all until I reach a certain number of views. Those views have to be consistent too. If I ever drop below a certain amount, I lose control over whether they can be on my channel or not. If this were more isolated, I might have less of a problem. I understand that YouTube is a big platform, and I'm sort of trading ease of upload and dealing with all of this for the potential reach of the platform. Except, YouTube has the reach it does because it has been inflated by the rest of Google for years, while competitors are hampered as much as possible. And considering that YouTube already makes money off of my data, ads sold through my data, the data of my viewers, and the ads sold to my viewers, I consider my debts paid. Just to be clear, there will not be ads on my videos if I can help it. I will always post my videos to Patreon for free for anyone to see. You don't have to be a patron to view my videos. They're public. But I would appreciate any support you can give. Oh, and YouTube makes a few billions now, so don't let anyone convince you they have to be user hostile to make money. They're doing fine. I guess if there's an overall point outside of my general bitching, it's to take care of yourself. Value your privacy and take steps to protect it. Any good developer knows to treat any input as malicious and treat it accordingly by making sure if it is loaded, it's loaded in a way it can't do harm. Why should you treat your own computer as any different? You don't have to change everything all at once. I'm not expecting anyone to immediately switch to Linux, even if I recommend giving it a try. Start with small steps. Switching browsers is an easy first step. Use uBlock Origin. It's easy to install and is basic protection for your computer. If you have antivirus software, then it might help to consider what exactly is loading those programs on your computer in the first place. I'll put a list of some software I use that may be helpful in the description. Feel free to add your own in the comments as well. Well, that's all for now. See ya.